Good afternoon, everybody. Chill out, son. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. All right, while we're waiting for everybody to come in, if you would go to Canvas and pull up this review study questions, that's what we want to do today. Um, and again, this is a list of things that should have already been done, but today we're going to focus on the study questions. And I want to say this too, as we get closer, we're a week away from the milestones. Um, make sure that you're going back and you're studying these things, that you're going back and looking at the study guides, like this taxonomy study guide. Don't just turn it in for a grade, study it. And that's what we're going to be looking at. Today is some study guides that will help us with the test next week, in particular on the unit that we have not covered yet. So I want to stress that particular activity today. We're going to wait a few more minutes and then I'm going to get started. Technically, everybody's not late yet, so but while you're waiting, pull up the diagram. Pull up this one while you're waiting, because this one you don't have to submit, you just need to study it. Okay, so pull that one up, the one that says ecology diagram for review. And be looking at that while we're waiting for others to come in. And I'm going to go through that. I'm going to go through the other worksheets, give the answers to those worksheets. So again, if you want to download those two, we're going to go through them one at a time. We're going to do the ecosystem one first and then the cells biology one next. The other thing you could also do, if you've already done those things, is to look at the module again that we have not done yet, then that would be this ecology. This is what we're going to be focusing on today, is looking at these things, but we're going to look at it through the diagram. So read over this page. The handout that I just gave you basically deals with all of that, and everybody's coming in now. So we'll get started in a little while. Okay, so let me go back here. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Glad to see you. Happy Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. Yay. But we're also halfway closer to the milestone exam. So today we're going to focus on reviewing for that. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started because like I said, most of you just came in. So anybody else who's just late. And so we're going to look at, so I think I went over this with you all yesterday, but I'm going to go through it again today to make sure. So again, the question was asked, is there anything on the test that we haven't covered? We have not covered the ecology unit. So what I did was I created this handout for you to look at it, and I'm going to go through this handout and discuss it in detail. And then we're going to look at two sets of questions that will also help you as review. The first one is specifically on ecology, but the first one's going to go a lot with this handout. So make sure you're listening to how I go over this so that you can answer the other questions. And the second one goes back to cells and cell function and things like that we've done in the past, and DNA and all of those other things. Again, as you prepare for this test, please, 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 please study your vocabulary. I'm a strong believer that if you know what the words mean, then you can interpret what the question is asking you. Okay, so we're going to run into a lot of words as we go through this that I'm going to point out that you just need to make sure that you understand the meaning of the words. All right, so let's start with this one at the top. So again, this worksheet is just a bunch of pictures and things that should just help you generalize everything, concept maps and things of that nature that will help you review. So I don't need this back. When you send me the worksheets back for the grade, I don't need this page back. Okay, this is just pictures. All right, so as far as classification, as taxonomy is concerned, this is our system of classification. All living things, and this is strictly about living things, have been classified into these groups. Everything is in one of 5 kingdoms. All living things are in one of 5 kingdoms, and each kingdom can be divided into phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. And as we go down the list, there are fewer organisms in each group as we kind of get more specialized in the details of the organisms in that group. All right. Um, so, and you do need to learn this in order. We created lots of mnemonics that you can remember. And the point of remembering this in order is they will ask you questions about which group is large, has more organisms in it than the other. Which one is included in the other? So for example, family is included in class. Family is included, order is included in class. Class is included in phylum. So as we go down the list, the one before it includes the one underneath it. The other thing that you need to look at is the binomial nomenclature, our system of naming all organisms by 2 words, the genus and species. Genus name is always capitalized. Species name is always lowercase. I've seen them give questions where they give 4 different answers, but 2 of them are the same, except one has the capital letter and the other one doesn't. So know that rule, that the genus name is capitalized and the species name is not. Okay? All right, so let's look at this other concept map. So now we're looking at just 2 of the kingdoms. There are 5 kingdoms. The animal kingdom, this one shows the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom way back when they only divided things into plants and animals. And since then, all of these at the bottom have been put into their own group of organisms. So now algae group is now Protista. We have fungi as a group by itself, and then we have plants and animals, and then we have the bacteria one as well. So those are our 5 kingdoms. So right now in this particular concept map, it's just dealing with plants and animals. All right, so look at how they've divided it. So those are the kingdoms. Underneath the kingdoms, we have phylum. So we've divided invertebrates and vertebrates. Invertebrates are those organisms that don't have an internal backbone. Some of them have an external skeleton. That means they might have a hard shell on the outside, but they don't have bones inside the body. Vertebrates do. So they've divided that kingdom into phyla. And then they have several organisms that fall in those phyla. So, all right, so they took the vertebrates and they divided the phyla into class. So we have a class of fish and reptiles and mammals. And that still has a lot of organisms. Like we are in the group of mammals, but mammals still has cows and horses and apes and all of that are still falling in that group. So we still have to break that down some more into class and order and so on. So as you see, Amphibians are broken down. You've got birds that are broken down for you, and the mammals. And they still didn't break it down all the way down to genus and species. Same thing on the other side. We haven't talked a lot about plants, but plants are divided into two types also, the ones that are flowering and the ones that do not. Okay, the ones that are flowering have seeds, and there's two types of seeds. The word mono means one. So the seed, if you look at it, it's just one solid structure. A dicotyledon, so a cotyledon is a seed. So a monocot is one, and a dicot means when you can split it in two, like a peanut has two sides to it. That would be a dicotyledon. Okay. Um, so they give you examples of those kinds of plants. And then, like I said, we now make these ones at the bottom a different kingdom by themselves. So you have algae or unicellular fungi, but they're still not flowering plants. Okay, they are still considered non-flowering plants. Um, Moss and ferns are plants. Ferns actually they're non-flowering, but they turn green, and moss can be green as well. These other two tend not to be green plants. Okay, so there's still ways that we can differentiate these things. Okay. Um, so that's that one. All right, this one I'm going to start with the picture at the bottom first and then go to the one on the top. So when we look at levels of organization, some of this is review back to the beginning, and some of this, when we get to the top part of this, that is part of the ecology that we haven't covered yet. All right, so when we look at living things, all living things are made of cells. Beyond the cell, they're just little cell parts, but the whole living thing, its basis unit of structure is the cell. And if we put a lot of cells together, they make a tissue. A lot of tissues together and specialized can be an organ. Organs work together in a system. So we have organs for our respiratory system, our digestive system, our endocrine system. So these are organs that are working together for a particular function. And these things work together to make a whole organism function well. Okay, so beyond that, these are all parts of an organism. Okay, all right, in our ecosystem, so we start with an organism, which is one kind of living thing. And if we put a lot of that one kind together, then we have a population of that one kind. So now you need to know the definition of these. And when we do the first worksheet, we're going to look at differentiating one from the other. So again, an organism is one thing. A population is a lot of that one thing. And then a community is a group of different populations. I'm going to give you an example. And actually, I'm going to give you an example in the next picture. So I'll let that sit for a minute. So community can have several populations. Okay, up to that point, we're only talking about living things. We're not considering anything that is non-living. Then we get to ecosystems. Ecosystems have living things and non-living things in them. It's not that they weren't there. It's just that when we're talking about them or defining them, we're not considering the non-living things. We're only talking about the living things. But an ecosystem looks at everything you need to be alive. So you need the living things and you need the non-living things. We also have two other words that go for that: biotic and abiotic. Biotic, like biology, means living things. Abiotic means not living. So abiotic things are your soil, your water, your air, the sunlight, all these things that are not living, but we need them to live. We can't live without them. So they are necessary. So they are abiotic factors, things we cannot function without. So those are included in our ecosystem. And then there are several different ecosystems depending on where they are in the world that make up the biome. Okay, and then each of the biomes are on the whole planet, and that's our biosphere. But again, depending on where you are on the biosphere, that you've got different names for that too. So hydro, that's water. Those are the things that live in the water. All right, lithosphere, those are the things that live on land. So litho is land or earth. Atmosphere, things that exist in the air most of the time, and that includes our climate and things of that nature, because that's important in talking about our biomes. And cryosphere, parts of the planet that are frozen, because those are important as well. All right, so we're going to take that and biomes, and I'm going to specifically look at the levels of organization again, and this is kind of a picture that gives you a clearer picture of what those levels mean. So we got one fish, he's an organism. And then the next picture has a lot of fish, but they're the same fish. Okay, so that's a population. But we all know that that fish is not the only fish in the sea. So it is in community with other fish of different kinds. So we have a population of dolphins, a population of trout, population of clownfish, and they all live in the same part of the ocean, so they're in community. Okay, or the aquatic ecosystem that we're looking at in this particular picture also has turtles, it has ducks, it has frogs, it has plants. Plants are also part of that ecosystem, and they are living things. So we cannot forget that plants are living things, and our little bunny rabbit. All right, now notice the difference between our community picture and our ecosystem picture. You still have all the living things, but now we've added more water, we've added more land, we've added the sunshine, and technically you can't see, but the air is there. All of those things are important to make up an ecosystem. Okay, and then all the ecosystems are part of the whole planet, which make up our biosphere, which takes us to our next picture. So we have our whole planet. We have different ecosystems on our planet. And so they've been color coded for you depending on temperature and water. Okay, these have been defined. The different names of these have been defined according to temperature and water. So those that are closest to the equator tend to be tropical and warm and moist, and those that are further away tend to be a little cooler. As you get to the top and bottom there, we have ice deserts, meaning that there's very little precipitation and nothing is growing there. Okay, all right. So we can take these same biomes and we can put them on a triangle that looks like this. All right. And again, we're defining our biome according to what is its temperature. So this arrow on the side goes from hot to cold, and the one at the bottom goes from wet to dry. And this is how you can read this triangle. So they've named so notice all these words that are up here for biomes are also in this picture, but now we've placed them according to temperature and moisture. Okay, so the question could ask you to describe the temperature and precipitation of a rainforest. So you find rainforest down here at the corner. And because it's on this end of the arrow, you can say a rainforest is very wet and it's very hot because it's on the end of that arrow, as opposed to a tropical desert, and there are different kinds of deserts. So this tropical desert is also on the low end of the hot end of the arrow, but it's also on the dry end of this arrow. So if I was describing a desert, I would say hot and dry. If I was describing a temperate desert, I would say um, kind of between hot and mild because it's a little further up on the arrow, but it's still dry. Where we live is a deciduous forest. So we are kind of in that warm area. We're not hot. We're in the warm end of the arrow, but we're also on the part of the arrow that is kind of moist. Okay, we're not wet, wet like a rainforest, but we're moist. So you kind of have to just take your finger and kind of draw a line down and draw a line across in order to decide how hot or how wet is the region. Again, take the tundra at the top. The tundra at the top is kind of in the middle of the arrow. It's not very wet, it's not very dry, but it is very cold. Okay, so that's how you would read this triangle. Okay. And beyond this, I don't think they're going to ask too many questions that you need to know. There is another set of questions that we do need to look at that's not biome related, and we're going to talk about those on the worksheet. All right, so make sure you study this and kind of memorize this. Remember, you can't take anything into the exam with you, so you are going to have to study and look at these things before you go in. All right, the one I want you to download next is the ecosystem worksheet. Um, and some of these questions are going to be just go back to what I just went over with you with the pictures. I'm going to go through all the answers for this with you. So that means when you turn it into me, you have no excuse not to have all the right answers because I'm giving them to you. Okay. So this will tell me whether you were paying attention in class and you were participating or you're just logged in to be logged in for attendance. And then you'll have to answer them by yourself if you want credit for this. All right. First one, an ecosystem is made up of two things. It is made up of living things and non-living things. So C is the correct answer for this one. What you can do, if you can download these in such a way that you can edit them, then you can just highlight your answers. Or if you can't highlight your answers, you want to give the title ecosystems, and then you want to number it 1 through 19 so that you can give me the letters. But I prefer that you do it this way and just highlight your answers. That's easier for me. But do what works for you. All right, so living things and non-living things. So again, by definition, an ecosystem consists of all the living matter and the non-living, meaning the water, the sun, the soil, the air, all of that are the non-living things, and all of the trees and plants and animals um, that are in that area as well. And again, an ecosystem, there are different kinds of ecosystems. Their location on the planet will determine what the name of that ecosystem will be. Okay. All right. Number two. Number two, we're looking at this picture, and by definition, it tells you that a community is made up of living things only. So we're not talking about the soil and the water and the sun. So which of these groups, so look at all of these. I'm going to ask you all to type this in the chat, somebody. Look at these groups and tell me which one of these has just living things in it. No non-living things. Okay, Jacob says it's D. And you're right. All right, it is D. It is not A because A has dirt. Dirt is non-living. It is not B because B has water. Um, C has the mountains, which is basically dirt. Okay, so D is the only one. And again, grass and leaves are living things. They are plants, so they count as living things. So don't let those kind of questions trip you up. All right, this next question is going to trip you up because they give you a picture of all these little foxes. Yeah, okay. And then they ask, okay, by definition of populations, and they don't add Fox is not in the question at all. So that's kind of misleading. But again, the picture is correct for a population. It's just not one of the choices in your answers. So what you want, so the population contains more than one member of the species. So the picture has just foxes, and they have a lot of them. So which of these words down here is just a population? Okay, Malia says it's A, and that's right. All right. You have squirrels, and just one kind of species is a squirrel, but you got 10 of them, as opposed to the other ones have mixed groups, and B is just one squirrel. So one squirrel is not a population. So 10 squirrels is a population. Okay. All right. So that one is correct. All right. Another word for a population, and again, it kind of goes with this question up here because it said a population contains more than one member of the species. So which word do you want to pick for number 4? Another word for a living thing is a bee species. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Kendall. Okay. All right. So again, vocabulary, vocabulary. Please study your vocabulary. All right. The word organism can mean, and somebody tell me. A is a living thing. All right, now what makes the rest? Well, D is out because that's a non-living thing. But the other parts, well, the organ player is kind of a silly answer because while we do have organs, we're not going to play them. But the organs are part of a living thing. They are not in their, uh, it's an organism is made up of organs. It is not, it is part of the organism, but it's not an organism by itself, if that makes sense. Okay. It doesn't function as by itself as an organism. All right. Another word for an animal's home. And I think most of you can figure this one out because D is habitat. That's good. All right. And again, just remember these vocabulary words. All right. The role of an organism plays in its ecosystem, and I will tell you this one, it's a niche. And a niche means the job that where it lives, it has a particular job because different organisms can live in the same place, but they don't all do the same thing. They help each other out, and everybody has a job to make sure that everything in that environment works well, and that's their niche. Their job is their niche. All right. The next one, the characteristics that help an organism to survive, and I think you can answer that one. C, adaptation. Good, good. Kendall, you own it. All right. So what they need to survive, they need to be able to adapt to their environment. And one of the things they might talk about is Darwin and his theory of evolution, in that an organism survive because they can adapt. Those that don't adapt usually die. Okay. Survival of the fittest. I'm not sure you've heard that expression before. It means that they are able to adapt, and therefore that makes them the fittest so they can survive. All right, our walrus, what makes him adapted for his Arctic environment? B, yes, his long tusks that enable him to pull up on the ice. So they're looking for a structure on the organism that allows them to adapt. Yes, he lives in the tundra. He might like to sleep or be awake. He does eat fish, but that's not um, an adaptation. An adaptation is something that is on the organism that allows it to survive its environment. Hold on, let me let Kayla in. Okay, next one. All right, is she in? Hi, good afternoon, Kayla. We are looking at the worksheet on a review, milestone reviews that says ecosystems. All righty. Now these only have two choices. So Mr. Turtle here, he lives in the desert. So what makes him best adapted? B. Yes, thank you, Jacob. He has short, stubby legs and claws to walk across the sand. Okay. So the claws help him grip the sand better. Not all turtles have claws like that. All right. Now this question too, they only have two choices, but I want you to notice that they say which rabbit enables it to survive hot grassland. So both of these rabbits don't live in the grassland. Which one does? A, the one that has the long ears. And the long ears help it in the hot grasslands because they're able to perspire through their ears as well. Okay. Whereas the short ones will help them keep some of the heat to their body. The um, long ears help them to get rid of some of that gives them more surface area to let more heat out. All right, 12, 12, 12, 12. All right, 4 things an organism needs to survive. Keep in mind, like I said, we need living and non-living things. And yes, A is the correct answer. All right, we need food, water, which is non-living. We need shelter and space, and those are all non-living as well, but they're important. We won't survive if we don't find shelter, protect us from the elements. Um, so the rest, and we're going to talk about predator prey situation. We can survive without friends, although we like friends. We can survive without them. So again, this is kind of a common sense question. So testing skill, please take your time. They give you a lot of time. Read each question carefully so that because some of these have the same words and they might sound good, like this, C might sound good because it's almost the same, but the only difference between one and the other is humans. And you might say, I need other humans to survive, but you can survive by yourself. So what we need is A. All right, 13. All right, these are the words that we have not covered, and these words you need to make. You can, after you turn this into me, you can make special notes on these as well. But make sure that you know the meaning of all these words. Okay. The first one is the definition of a long-lasting relationship between two organisms is symbiosis. How do I get along with another living thing is symbiosis. Okay, so that's just a general term. So B, C is the answer, symbiosis. Now we're going to look at different kinds of symbiosis because there are different kinds. All right, so the type of symbiosis where both organisms benefit, and I call this one, that's right, it is B. Is mutualism. You do something for me, I do something for you, so both of us benefit from this relationship. Okay, so that's mutualism. All right, the type of where one benefits, but the other one is not affected, meaning you're doing something for me, but it's okay. Thank you, Jacoby. And actually, it was Jacoby that said that before. I'm sorry. I have to look carefully between the two. We have a Jacob and a Jacoby, so I have to watch carefully. Jacoby, you're on it. So commensalism. So again, know these definitions. Commensalism, one benefits, and again, this you're looking at two relationships, an A and a B relationship, and a lot of times they map it out like that. What is A doing? What is B doing? A is benefiting. B could care less. Okay, so that's commensalism. Then we have which one benefit, A benefits and B is harmed. And that one is C, yes, parasitism. Now, with parasitism, they are harmed, they don't necessarily kill them. Okay, because they in this relationship, and there's two names for this. We have the parasite and the host. The parasite lives in or on the host. Okay, and it is to the benefit of the parasite that we don't kill it because that's where we're getting our food from or our life supply from our host. So we're trying not to kill it. So that is a different relationship than predator prey. Predator prey, the predator benefits, the prey is dead. Okay, so it is definitely not only harmed, it dies. So that's the difference between parasitism and predator prey. All right. Okay. Um, we have our clownfish. Is cleaning the sea anemone, and the sea anemone is protecting the clownfish. Yes, that's D, mutual. This is Nemo, Finding Nemo. They live in the sea anemone, and the sea anemone. The clownfish has developed an adaptation where they are immune to the stings of the sea anemone. A lot of other fish will come along and they will sting them, so they stay away. So the anemone is protecting the clownfish, and the clownfish actually, its waste products are actually feeding the anemone. So they're doing something for both, for each other. Okay, so that one is mutualism. Then we have our hookworm that lives inside the dog, and some of you who have dogs might know about this one. So yes, this one is parasitism, where the hookworm is a parasite. And again, your dog might feel a little sick and not act right, but he's not going to die unless it gets severe, or unless the parasite is carrying some other type of disease with it. That the disease might lead to death, but the parasite itself is not designed to kill. All right, then we have our egret, which is that little bird that's sitting on top of the head of the elephant. And it's hanging out on top of the elephant. It's eating the insects that come out of the grass as the elephant walks by. And yes, commensalism, where the elephant really doesn't care because the elephant really isn't bothered by those bugs. It doesn't eat the bugs, and it's not, and the bugs that are on it aren't harming it, so the elephant doesn't care. But the egret is feeding on it. Okay, the elephant doesn't mind that they're up there, but the egret is getting food, so it is benefiting by this relationship with the elephant, and the elephant is not helping them, so to speak, other than providing a landing spot for. And I kind of look, this example is kind of, you might say it's mutualism because it provides them with food, but it doesn't really provide them with food. It just so happens that these bugs land on the elephant and the egrets pick it off. Okay. All right. So we've completed that worksheet. Anybody got a question? So again, other than the other handout, make sure that you know symbiosis and what all of these relationships are. All right, we got a few minutes to look at the second worksheet. All right, you download that. Let me take a break for a minute and do attendance. So I'm going to stop sharing for a minute, do attendance, and I'll be right back. But you download that other worksheet, start looking at it. This one, we've done everything on this, so that one is a definite review. But let me quickly do attendance before I forget. Because we are about to run out of time. So we will not finish this worksheet, but I will continue working on it tomorrow with you. Who's missing? But we will start it because we got about 5 minutes. All right, we only have one person missing. Got a lot of you that are looking at me. So hopefully this idle means that your worksheet is visible someplace else. Because again, it is important that you all stay. Again, the milestone is 20% of your grade, and it covers a lot of material. As you're going to see with this worksheet that we're doing, it's going to cover a lot of stuff that we've already covered for the year. I'm back. Okay. All right, all right, all right, all right. All right, so how does the nucleus and the ribosome interact with cellular homeostasis? Homeostasis is one of those vocabulary words you need to make sure that you know. Give me one word that you could use to describe homeostasis. Why do we need homeostasis? Before we even answer the question, what does homeostasis mean? Body's ability to maintain a stable. Okay, I like the word stable. Inspire. All right, that's a good definition. So I hope everybody see. And Kendall, that's the word I was looking for, balance. Okay, so stable and balance. Those are, you need to think about those. So homeostasis is important. Everything we do in our living, when we start to fall apart, or we start to die is because our homeostasis is off. We get sick when our homeostasis is off. So you want to make sure that you have an understanding of that term. All right, now we have a whole, inside the cell, we have a whole list of organelles. So make sure you find your worksheet that lists all your organelles and the function of organelles. So in particular with question number 1, what does the nucleus have to do with the ribosome? And what would you say for that? Yes, it is A. Yes, it is. It is. The nucleus contains the DNA, and then again, you need to remember what the DNA is, which codes for proteins, and proteins are made in the ribosome. Synthesized means it is made in the ribosomes. All right, number 2, macromolecules. Again, these are structures that are not microscopic. They are the ones that can't easily float across the cell membrane because they're big. Okay, but they're still small, but it's too, when we say macromolecule, they're still smaller than the naked eye, but they're too, as far as being able to cross easily across the cell membrane, they're kind of big. We need active transport for them. So we have a list of them. You have a chart that you um, need to refer back to the study. And so which of these is responsible for the genetic information? A, again, nucleic acids. So nucleic acids make up the DNA. Okay. All right. The primary role of chloroplasts in plant cells, and y'all keep. I'm gonna, I'm gonna stop at 4 because we're running out of time. The primary role of chloroplast. Chloroplast is a structure that is only found in plants. And what does the chloroplast do? It is, yes, it conducts photosynthesis. So you need, and what I'm going to do tomorrow when I see you, we're going to look at the relationship between photosynthesis and respiration. You have to be able to recognize the chemical equation, and you only have to remember one equation, but you do have to remember it's the same thing forward and backwards. It just depends on which way you're looking. Photosynthesis goes one way, respiration goes the other. So we're going to look at that tomorrow. All right, number 4, and then we're going to stop. How do carbohydrates contribute to cellular respiration? What do they do? What is the primary function of a carbohydrate? C, to get energy. Okay, that is its primary function. We can get energy from all of our macromolecules, to be honest with you, but the job of the carbohydrate is to provide energy. This is why football teams and all the game groups, they have a nice carb loading meal before the game so that they can have energy. All right, so I'm going to stop there. You can continue working on it, and so that you have all the answers from me by tomorrow. And we'll continue working on this then because we are out of time today. And if there's any questions about any other topics that you want me to go over, because pretty much tomorrow, I might see you one more time before the test, but tomorrow will be it. So again, please study your vocabulary, pull up all the study guides from all the units and study, study, study. Okay? All right, you all have a great rest of your afternoon and see you tomorrow. Thanks for contributing to answers. I thank you. I loved it, loved it.